Good afternoon. This is Erica Bowles, and I am a family and consumer science multidisciplinary major at South Carolina State University. I am from Benton, North Carolina, but I moved to Florida and graduated there before coming to state. And, this is my presentation on how stillbirths affect a family. So, why I chose this topic is because, simply put, avocation. Losing a child is a very hard thing to go through, psychologically and financially. Families need to be advocated for in order to spark change regarding preventive health care and emotional support. This was seen when we as a class had to watch the documentary Aftershock as a grade and then submit a reflection of it. And it took multiple women passing away while giving birth and their families or husbands, loved ones, to come and advocate for them before bills started being passed, things started changing, policies being put in place for really them to start being heard and properly advocated for. Change regarding preventive healthcare and emotional support should be conducted through more research in order to help prevent these kind of tragedies from taking place. What is a stillbirth? A stillbirth is a baby or child who passes away after 28 weeks but dies before or during the birthing process. During the birthing process, hospital staff must carefully navigate emotional challenges while still carefully delivering the baby, because most people that end up having a stillbirth or losing a child end up making some kind of memorial for their baby, and maybe they want to do footprints or some kind of picture or something of that nature. And then the parents are already going through enough as it is. And then the mother is still put in charge of delivering this baby without harming herself. So hospital staff have a lot to do with this process being taken care of properly. Causes of stillbirths include congenital abnormalities, which includes cleft lips and basically deformations of the child that may cause different size body parts or abnormalities in the face, head, body, anything that could really harm the child or cause them to sadly pass away while being born. Genetic factors, obstetric complications, which are complications that happen to the mother, like maybe she's sick or she's developed some kind of symptoms that cause her to have problems delivering the baby safely. And then air pollutants and heat exposure have also been proven to have a lot to do with stillbirths and premature births as well. How are relationships affected? First, we must consider the physical and mental health of the mother. It's already hard to give birth, but the psychological and physical trauma caused by having a child will cause the mother to act differently, especially expecting them to have the same attitude and energy socially and physically is not going to be easy, being that they have lost a child. The grieving process is very hard on the body and the mind. This is a very important factor of postpartum depression, which is learned about in our textbook, and we also had talked about previously in the class. This is proven to be worse, especially after losing a child, because the mother can be depressed. A lot of the time, mothers develop post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, and they have a hard time sleeping at night. They wake up to babies crying or often feel like they're giving birth. They have a lot of trauma involved with losing their child that it may cause a psychosis. And then it's not only hard on the mother, but it's also hard on the spouse. So, how are marriages affected? This puts a lot of stress on the relationship coming home and having to come to terms with all of the excitement and preparation that has went into having this child and taking care of them, it may feel like it has gone to waste, especially being that you cannot bring your baby home, or you decorated this room and you set up this crib and then your baby isn't here. A lot of that reminds the parents of what has happened, and it may slow the grieving process. Guilt is a factor in this process as well. Parents may feel like they didn't do enough, or that they didn't do right by their child, or that everything could have been prevented, whether it was their fault or whether it was not. And sometimes it gets so bad that people start to put the blame on each other and question their partners. This causes a lot of tension within the relationship and within the household. This tension could be could be resolved by going to therapy solo, or also having relationship counseling or group therapy at the family space. Other times, people are stubborn or feel like the love has been lost and cannot be repaired, so the couple ends up splitting or separating. Other times, people benefit and show positive growth and development after going to therapy and overcome the emotional damage that happened with this child, sadly losing its life. And they move on, and sometimes they decide to try and have kids again. Other times they can't because they're scarred by what happened to them, and that is very understandable. For example, my godmother, she had a stillbirth, and it took a long time for her to finally become comfortable with herself and her partner and trusting each other to try to have kids again, even though they never forgot what happened to their child. It was a lot for them to move on from that. So what is being done to mitigate the amount of stillbirths that happen? The NIH funded the Stillbirth Research Consortium. This is a program that will allow research that will help develop tools and devices and new technology that will help better the potential to positively or correctly diagnose what has happened, and then provide and develop prevention efforts related to these stillbirths. They have decided to fund over $37 million over the course of 5 years, and the research will take place in research centers amongst notable institutions ranging from North Carolina, San Diego, New York City, Utah, and Oregon. The statistics say that nearly 2 million stillbirths happen yearly around the world. Between the years of 2001 and 2023, there's been a steady decline in the amount of stillbirths. It's been roughly a little over 1 million, which is positive, but at the same time, you would think that because we're so advanced when it comes to technology like this, that it would be more prevented. And the next slide will definitely go into detail about why I say this. Over 40% of stillbirths happening during birth. This is a percentage that is found around the globe. But in the United States alone, 60% of the 24,000 stillbirths remain unexplained. This is after all of the causes have been ruled out that I have spoke about previously on the second slide, where I talked about what a stillbirth was. Over 1 in 160 deliveries are stillbirths. So a lot of research still needs to be done when it comes to putting research into preventing these deaths, finding and correctly diagnosing what's causing them, and a lot of the times it's things that haven't been thought of. So it's really up to the researchers to do their part. Organizations that help. There are a multitude of organizations across the globe that help deal with the difficult subject of stillbirths, each focusing on a different part of the process. There are a lot of them, but the ones that I've decided to mention in this slideshow would be the Compassionate Friends organization and then the International Stillbirth Alliance, which both provide a good amount of support for the families, and then research and information to help prevent this, and then also support groups where they can talk amongst themselves with other people who have gone through things like this. There are other organizations that support research and the education and studying that goes into stillbirth, such as March of Dimes and the Star Legacy Foundation. And this is my works cited. Oh, we skipped a page, unfortunately. My final reflections include that stillbirths are a very underrepresented population when it comes to things, especially mothers and their mental health being affected by this and how we can prevent these things from happening. It is vital that families utilize the support platforms that are given. There are a multitude of organizations, like I said recently, that support families and offer education on how to get over these things, how to develop and process the grieving process, how to get through that, and then how to lean on each other, especially when you feel like, you can't continue to keep going. And then ongoing research is important to help mitigate the factors that cause these things and diagnose them properly. And this is my works cited, and that's the end.